Hi, welcome to Movie Theater. Today I'm going to recap a 2011 thriller drama movie, The Good Doctor. So, let's begin. As the movie starts, we are shown a hospital where we meet a young doctor named Martin. He had recently graduated and was in his first year at the hospital. Martin goes to meet a new patient called Mr. Sanchez, but he is speaking Spanish, so Martin doesn't understand anything as he doesn't know the language. He then gives him medicine according to his report. There is also a nurse named Teresa who used to work there, and she never spoke well to Martin, which caused him to be irritable around her. Later on, a patient called Diane is admitted with kidney infection and Martin says she will get better soon. In the evening, Martin returns home as he lives alone in the city and doesn't have a girlfriend, making him feel quite lonely. The next day, when he visits Diane at the hospital, he sees that she has a diary in which she writes down everything. After this, Martin begins caring for Diane and soon starts to develop feelings for her. However, once Diane's boyfriend Rich arrives to meet her, Martin feels a little uneasy. Just then, Nurse Teresa comes to Martin and informs him that the medicine she gave to Mr. Sanchez had a side effect as he was allergic to it. However, it wasn't Martin's fault as no allergies were mentioned in the report. Despite this, Teresa puts all the blame on Martin. The following day, when Martin meets Diane, she is arguing with Rich over the phone. Diane tells Martin that she should break up with Rich, and on this, Martin says that if you love someone you should let them go. As they start talking, Teresa enters the room without permission and shouts at Martin before leaving, something which he doesn't like at all. Later that evening, Martin informs Diane that she is almost healed and can go home the next day. The next morning when he arrives at the hospital, he sees that Diane has left. Diane's father came to thank Martin, and invited him to their home for dinner. As night fell, Martin arrived at Diane's house and was welcomed by her parents, brother and sister Valerie. To his surprise, Diane wasn't there, she had gone out with her boyfriend. During the meal, Valerie showed an interest in Martin, which led to a heated argument with her brother, resulting in soup spilling on her dress. She then went to change while Martin went to use the bathroom, but he mistakenly opened Valerie's bedroom while she was changing. Apologizing profusely, he hurriedly left and stumbled upon Diane's medicine in the bathroom. If she missed even one dose, it would make her sick again. On his way out, he noticed Diane's bedroom and stole a picture of her before heading home. The following day, Martin's head inquires why he desires to become a doctor and if he enjoys being in the hospital. Martin reveals that there was a doctor in his neighborhood whom everyone respected. So he thought if he became a doctor too, he would also gain respect. He also adds that he does not like the behavior of the staff but still loves his job. During lunchtime, Valerie calls him and says that her mother wanted to give him a present but forgot to do so. She offers to come to his apartment or for him to come to her house. Martin declines as he will be out that day. Consequently, Martin heads to Diane's house that same evening. Once there, Martin uses the bathroom but does something wrong. He switches Diane's medicine so she doesn't get better and returns back to the hospital. Afterward, Martin leaves with his gift, and as expected, due to the lack of effect of the medicine, Diane falls ill again. Martin starts treating Diane again and even begins doing night shifts for her, reassuring her that she will be fine soon. However, when Diane is asleep at night, Martin changes her medicine again as he wanted to keep her with him for as long as possible. When he is about to discard the other medicine, he bumps into a nurse named Marianne who tells him that she mistakenly gave Mr. Sanchez's allergy medicine. He then goes to the restroom and throws away the original medicine in the bin. The following day, when Martin returns to the storeroom for another medication, he catches Jimmy being intimate with a patient. It turns out that Jimmy had given some kind of drugs to the patient which caused her to be close to him, but the lady claims that she is doing this of her own free will. Martin orders them both to leave and once again changes Diane's medicine and report sample that night. Due to all this, Diane has to be admitted into the hospital. The head doctors, seeing this, were also upset as to why Diane wasn't getting better even after taking all the medicines. Martin informed her that his condition was deteriorating and he might need an operation. Diane asked if he would perform the surgery on her. To which Martin replied that he doesn't do surgeries and probably won't even need one. Just then, Diane received a call from Rich but cut it off. Martin saw that Rich was coming their way to meet Diane, so he told her to rest and stopped Rich midway. On seeing Martin, Rich said that he wanted to meet Diane, but Martin lied, saying she was sleeping and visitors weren't allowed. Rich had brought a heart-shaped balloon for Diane, which he gave to Martin and asked him to deliver it to her. However, after Rich left, Martin broke the balloon and threw it in the dustbin. In the evening, Martin came back to check up on Diane. Then Diane tells Martin that she was intimate with Rich while taking medicine. So did he get sick again because of that? To which Martin responds that there is nothing like that. Diane then inquires if she will survive, to which Martin answers yes. The next day an expert is called for Diane and he tells Martin to check up on her every 2 hours. After this, Diane is operated on, and after the operation she asks Martin why he doesn't have a wife or a girlfriend. On this, Martin says he hasn't found any good girl yet and thus does not have any girlfriend or wife. Hearing this, Diane tells him she thought he liked her sister, but Martin firmly denies it, and Diane is delighted to know as she had started liking him too. She then says it's okay as her sister isn't a good girl and faints afterwards. Unable to control himself, Martin kisses her in her unconscious state. That night, he takes a long nap and when he wakes up discovers that Diane's condition has become critical. Martin visits Diane in the ICU, where he finds out that she is not breathing. The doctors try to resuscitate her, but it's to no avail and she dies. Martin feels guilty for a few days, as he had been selfish and killed an innocent girl. The head doctor calls a therapist for Martin, as it was his first patient who died and he was concerned about his mental well-being. Diane's father then arrives and accuses Martin of killing his daughter, but the head doctor defends him, saying that sometimes it is impossible to save a patient in such a severe condition. Eventually the guards take Diane's father away. A few days later, Jimmy reveals that he has found Diane's diary, which contains evidence of something going on between Martin and Diane. If the head had found out, Martin may have lost his job. Martin was blackmailed by Jimmy to get him some drugs, and in return, he would get his diary back. Under duress, Martin hid the drugs and gave them to Jimmy. However, upon receiving the drugs, Jimmy said he would never give Martin his diary and would keep blackmailing him. Furious, Martin went home and mixed poison into the drugs before giving them to Jimmy the following day. Once Jimmy took the drugs, his condition began to worsen until he collapsed in the hospital bathroom. His locker key fell out of his pocket and soon after he passed away. After Jimmy's death, Martin retrieved Diane's diary from the locker and brought it home. Not many people paid attention to Jimmy's death since it was assumed that he had overdosed on drugs. The next day a detective came to Martin's house investigating Jimmy's death. Martin starts to panic as he is asked questions by the detective about Jimmy, such as if he had any enemies or was a drug addict, but Martin doesn't know Jimmy well enough to answer. His eyes then drift to Diane's diary that was in the same room and Martin quickly runs to the bathroom with it, attempting to flush all of its pages. However, the pages get stuck in the toilet and water starts overflowing. Martin panics and then decides to sneak out of his bathroom window, seeing that the ocean was right outside his house. He knew he would be caught, so he started running towards it in order to commit suicide. After some time, he dies from drowning in the ocean. Suddenly, we realize this was all just a figment of Martin's imagination and he changes his mind. He goes back into the bathroom through his window, collects all of the pages and throws them away in a dustbin after erasing all evidence. He exits and tells the detective that if they must go to the hospital then they can ask any more questions another day before leaving. Days pass by and soon we see Martin back to his normal life as if nothing happened, even though he murdered 2 people. The movie ends here. Hit the like button if you have enjoyed watching this video and don't forget to subscribe our channel for more videos. Thanks for watching.